will artificial intelligence actually have on our lives? We make computers learn like human children learn.
But I think the development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race.
We now know that computers can learn, and computers can learn to do things that we actually sometimes don't know how to do ourselves, or maybe can do them better than us.
Many people do not have an accurate interpretation of developments in AI technologies. In society, we often base our expectations off things from media, such as movies to social platforms. In this documentary, our goal is to provide an accurate expectation of current AI technologies, as well as a realistic depiction of AI technologies in the future. One of the more recent developments in the field of artificial intelligence is the ability for them to learn through the observation of the events around them. It does this through processing the information and discovering patterns, and utilizes these patterns. An example of this is GPS AI, learning weather and traffic patterns to determine the drive time to the location.
There are currently 3 types of AI. We only have ANI, or Artificial Narrow Intelligence. It can perform one function based on its programming. The second level is Artificial General Intelligence, which is around the level of complexity similar to a human. The third and final level of AI is Artificial Superintelligence, which we are currently far from at this point.
Other recent advancements in the development of AI have improved the ability of doctors and other medical professionals by being able to use AI to run specific tests and diagnostics on patient data that is supplied, making their job simpler and more efficient.
AI technologies are also seen in smartphone apps like Socratic, which is a math assistant application that explains how to solve problems with just a picture.
We are living in a world of ANI, from our cars to our cell phones to Google. The next challenge in AI developmental technologies is creating AGI. This step, however, is more difficult than it appears, as we have to create computer systems which replicate the complexity of human brains. In a Wait But Why article, Tim Urban gives us a good example. Take this image. Both your mind and a computer sees the same thing, a rectangle with 2 alternating shades. Now if we remove the black and reveal the entire image, you can easily give a description on the different shapes in the depth. But a computer would fail miserably. It would describe a bunch of 2D shapes of different shades, which is actually there. Our minds complete a load of complex tasks to interpret depth. But what's next? Some AI experts believe that deep learning is the answer. Deep learning is the way computers can play chess or play Mario. The idea is that instead of coding every little possible outcome for every possible choice, you can program it to test different methods and determine the best course of action for the situation. In the Mario example, the computer starts with nothing except the phrase, "The farther right you go, the better you are doing." After a while, it learns that the right button makes you go right and dying is bad. Then it fine-tunes this information as it continues to learn, and before you know it, the computer is insanely good at the game. Basics like this already exist, and the Mario learning program was created by one person. If a single person was able to do this, what will massive corporations be able to do? If we can take this current version of deep learning and amp it up, we could see AGI or even ASI in the near future. Only time will tell. We interviewed a group of individuals within our community that range in age and education about the developments of AI technologies. Here were their responses. When do you predict that AI will reach self-identity?
I'd say give or take maybe 1 or 2 years from now, they'll achieve their own self-identity.
Alright. Would this be a good or a bad thing?
I'd say 50-50. It could be awful or it could go really well. It really depends on what they start to think of first, I guess.
What do you think of the future development of AI?
I think it'll be relatively beneficial for us. That AI will be able to do probably more tasks a little better. In like for several things. I don't know.
Do you know anything about the complexity of AI currently?
Complexity of AI. I would have to imagine that there's issues not only from the programming aspect of artificial intelligence, and I'm assuming when you say AI, I'm assuming that you're talking about artificial intelligence.
Yes.
But I would expect that, or I would imagine that there's issues involving not only the programming aspect, but maybe the moral and ethical issues behind artificial intelligence. And in programming these, these robots or the algorithms, trying to get something to mimic and learn on its own, something that duplicates what humans are able to do, with our brains and our processes that we encounter every day. We're able to learn and adapt. So for artificial intelligence, it seems like the complexity exists within creating these robots or programs or algorithms that will, incorporate things, do things on their own, and then in turn maybe learn on their own, such as the same way that us humans learn on our own or with assistance.
And what is your opinion on the future development of AI?
I think that it's not going to be stoppable. It's here. It's been progressing over time. For the last couple decades, I would imagine, and that I think artificial intelligence will play a huge role, in the coming decades as computing power increases, as programming these robots or artificial intelligence computers, as those things evolve. I think AI will be more of play more of a predominant role in society, and also in managing data. We live in a society where data is all around us. It's being collected. It's being processed. So AI might, may take a role or assume a role in all that data processing as well.
What is your opinion on the coexistence of man and machine?
I think it would be good, because we could do a lot of things we couldn't do before. It would definitely reduce the workload of a lot of people, automated factories, so it would change how people worked and how different jobs would emerge and all that.
What is your opinion on the future development of AI?
What is my opinion? I think it would be pretty good. It would be beneficial for us. I honestly don't think they'll go on like the movies where they rebel against humans, because they're just lines of code. I don't think they can achieve the level of intelligence we have.
I guess I'd say the more AI there is, the more jobs that will be replaced. There's a lot of situations now where we have repetitive type of work, or that artificial intelligence takes over. Those machines will be able to do more of that work. Currently, machines can do pretty basic, simple tasks, and we often call that like basic AI, single task AI. But if we get more general AI, it will definitely encroach more on jobs. So I guess that's where I see it going.
The next question is, what is your opinion on the future development of AI?
That's a good question. There's a couple schools of thought on that. Some people think that we're 20 years away from general AI, which is basically reproducing the strength of the human brain and its capacity. Others think we're still 100 years out. I think it's probably somewhere in the middle. I just don't know enough about the unknowns to make a really good prediction. We haven't even been able to model a single cell, not even an amoeba yet, in a computer. And so some would argue that we can't even do that. How are we supposed to model the entire brain? Others are saying we don't have to do the amoeba or the single cell. We can just understand the logic that occurs in the brain and then expand on it. But the problem is we still don't even understand how the brain works or how the logic of the brain works. So being able to surpass that is still an unknown. If it does happen, in our lifetimes, it'll be interesting what the implications are. Most implications are a little bit scary when machines viable, and machines keep us around, I guess is the big question. And that leads into all the sci-fi movies and things like that, which people just, kind of conjecture what is going to happen. But yeah, I don't know. I guess that is my short answer. I don't know.
After interviewing our guests, we picked up on some common themes and myths talked about. It is important for people to recognize whether or not myths are actually factual or just a myth, especially when continuing development of AI. After all, not many have a realistic expectation on AI, but instead base their views on media and society. One of the most controversial myths involving AI development is that AI will become conscious and eventually evil.
However, this myth is just a myth and is more science fiction than actuality. No doubt, computer systems are far more powerful at giving us answers faster than humans are, but whether or not that makes them more capable is up for debate. A better question to be asked is whether AI will become competent with goals misaligned of her own, which is more into the realm of possibility than will AI turn evil and take over the world.
Another common myth is whether AI will or has the potential to control humans. In other words, will AI become our supreme overlords?
Currently, AI of this complexity is an extremely high and unknown amount of time away from now. Instead, it would be better to envision and predict AI development about 50 through 100 years from now and consider the potential risks then. Rather than asking if AI might ever control humans one day, it would be more beneficial for us to ask whoever might end up controlling AI one day. It is important to remember that intelligence enables control and that it is difficult to predict what lies in the far future.
Finally, a myth that is commonly believed about AI development is that AI technologies will replace the careers of many individuals.
When considering AI technologies in a work environment, it is important to recognize that AI will improve the efficiency of the job rather than completely replacing its occupants. Furthermore, AI technologies already plays a significant role in jobs which require lower to higher levels of education, such as welding to surgery, as well as undesired jobs and jobs which require repetitive and precise tasks.
As mentioned before, it is important when continuing the development of AI to seek to be informed as much as possible and recognize if commonly portrayed myths from media and society hold a realistic depiction of AI developments.